Some days ago, a fresh round of constitutional review sessions was held across Nigeria, yet another attempt, to address long-standing questions around restructuring, fairness, and national identity. Can Nigeria truly arrive at a constitution that reflects the will of the people? Well, we'll be looking at that, Nigeria in search of acceptable constitution. And with me in the studio this morning is Barrister Nwabueze Ugwu. He is a constitutional lawyer. Good morning and welcome to the program.
Good morning, my sister. Good morning, viewers.
Yes, thank you for coming. Now, first of all, what exactly does it mean for Nigeria to be in search of an acceptable constitution?
First, what is a constitution? A constitution is a body of laws by which a given state is organized. A state, when I talk about a state, I'm looking at a sovereign state. I'm looking at a nation. Well, not nation state, not nation. Because there's a difference between a nation state and a nation. Igbo is a nation, but Igbo is not a nation, it's not a nation state. So Nigeria is a nation state. Nigeria is a state in international law. So a constitution is the highest law that governs everything in a sovereign state. And it is that instrument from where every other law in that state gets its legitimacy and validity. Any law or any action or inaction by any individual, by any organization, by the state itself, by a component part of that state that does not derive its power and authority from the Constitution is a nullity because it is illegal. And so the Nigerian Constitution, we're operating in 1999, a constitution made that was drafted in 1998 and which came into being by the powers given by Decree 5 of 1998. And of course, it came into operation on the 29th of May to 1999. The 29th of May 1999. And that is the law that governs everything we do in Nigeria.
All right. Now, in your view, would you say that this 1999 constitution is acceptable to the people and, the way it works and the laws in it?
Right from the outset, the constitution, a lot of persons have always questioned the legitimacy of the 1999 constitution. This is so because, first and foremost, if you look at the preamble to the Nigerian Constitution, 1999, it tells you that we, the people of Nigeria, decided to make unto ourselves this constitution. Now, you will now ask yourself, when did the people of Nigeria come together to draft a constitution? By democracy. The people that first invented democracy in, I think in 6 BC or so, were the Greek people in Athens in Greek. What did they say democracy was? They said that democracy was a government of the people, by the people, and for the people. When they talked about by the people, they meant by all the people. So democracy, as defined then, was a government of the people, by a government of all the people, by all the people, and for all the people. That was democracy, true democracy. Today, the world does not operate that brand of democracy. What the world now operates is representative democracy. Because in those days, in fact, those people in Athens do not accept that the world is operating democracy. Because what they meant was that if there was any issue to be tackled, everybody will come together in a market square. Everybody will come there and they will take a decision on what they were going to do. Take a decision on who was going to do it. And this will be a daily affair, because there was nobody that was governor, that was this, that was that. Well, I think to some extent, we still operate that in Igbo land when we talk about the villages coming together in a market square to iron out certain issues. It has that semblance of the democracy that was invented and established by Athens in Greek in at that time. Now, but today, what the world is used to is that if some persons draft a constitution, then the people of that country will conduct a form of referendum looking at that constitution section by section, subsection by subsection, and then asking themselves, do we support this subsection? Do we need to do an amendment to this subsection? What do we do to this one? You take it one after another until you have ground down the entire constitution to the end of it. So that it is only then you can say, we the people of Nigeria. In this instance, no such thing took place. It was just one man that was the military head of state who combined the position of legislature as well as he was the head of the executive, and the legislative arm was also subsumed under him. So he was both legislature and executive. He sat down and they brought a group of individuals and told them to draft the constitution. After drafting the constitution, he simply did a decree number 5 of 1998 and said this was the constitution that Nigeria was going to be operating. And the same constitution, that's a lie certainly, said that we the people. We never did. So from day one, a lot of persons, for a very good reason, have been insisting that the constitution was not made by Nigerians. And if you also look at it, a lot of the provisions of that constitution, no doubt, lends credence to what those people who are saying that the constitution is not ours. It lends credence to what they are saying. Several parts of that constitution.
So it's safe to say that the 1999 constitution is a military-imposed document.
Of course it is, and in fact it goes without saying. It was imposed upon Nigerians by the military, and that's why you can see the number of amendments it has undergone since 2007. And even after all these amendments, Nigerians are still crying for more. But I want to assure you that cry for amendment of the constitution will never cease until and unless Nigeria brings hammers together an acceptable constitution. That constitution can never be acceptable if it does not devolve powers to the constituent states. If you continue to concentrate power in a government that is irresponsible, in a government that does not, by irresponsibility I mean that if there are things that need to be done by a human being, and that human being does not do those things that the human being should do, that human being is irresponsible. Because what is responsibility? Responsibility is a man knowing what he should do and doing it. If a man knows what he should do and does not do it, he's irresponsible. If a man knows that he ought not to do this thing and he goes on to do it, he is irresponsible. And so, when there continues to be this concentration of power in a government that is so unwieldy, central government that is so unwieldy, and central government that is being monopolized, a central government that some section of the people think it is their God-given right to monopolize and to structure the way they like and the way they want. You don't expect that the rest of the people will be very comfortable with such an arrangement. And an arrangement that makes it impossible for certain individuals, certain section that want to move fast, to be drawn down by another section that wants to be sleeping. Another section that is comfortable with just sitting akimbo. You do not expect that any group of persons who find themselves in such a contraction will be comfortable with it. Yeah, of course we say no, because they do not want such a system that will hold them down and hold them down indefinitely and make them look like people who are stupid.
Okay, so now let's look at the constitutional review that was held, some days back. What was the main aim of that review?
The main aim of that review was to look at the Constitution, ask the people, are you people comfortable with this Constitution? Do you think that something should be done to this Constitution to give you people comfort, to make you people to be happy in this country, and when you are happy in a place, you do everything you can to contribute to the growth of that place. You do everything you can to bring the thing of that place up. But when you are unhappy, there is nothing you will do to uplift that organization or that institution. Look at America. Americans are so proud of it. Look at even the president of America, how proud he is of America. He tells you, he doesn't mince words about it. He tells everybody that has ears, everyone that cares to listen, that America is truly a great nation, and that America belongs to Americans, and that Americans will make America to be greater than it's even today. That's coming from the American president. That's what every American believes. Why do they do so? Because they are comfortable with the arrangement in America. They are comfortable with the way the American government is structured, with the way the politics, economy, agriculture, education, everything in America is structured. They are so comfortable with it. They're happy with it. That's why everybody, they are ready to sacrifice their lives to protect the image, integrity, and reputation of America. Every American. Why? Ask yourself, is it the same here? How many Nigerians will want to stake their life, will want to put in their life to not even to save Nigeria? Because in America, it's not just to save America, because they know that America remains the most powerful nation in the world. So, but they are prepared to sacrifice their lives to ensure that the image of America is not dented, that the reputation of America is not touched, is not manhandled by in any way, by any situation or whatever. Americans are always prepared to do that. Is it the same in Nigeria? What is the difference? Why is it so? It's important that Nigerians need to wake up. We can't continue to continue.
So now, of course, a lot of things were reviewed at this constitutional review. So what were the major highlights, or what were the major things that were discussed at the review?
You can see the major things that were discussed can never be far from the most important concern of Nigerians. After God created human beings, the number one most important thing in life is food. Before you talk about clothing, before you talk about housing, accommodation, before you talk about education, anything, the most important thing is life. How do you live? First and foremost, you must eat. Anybody that doesn't eat has no need for clothing, has no need for accommodation, nothing, no need for education. So Nigerians want to live. Security is the most important. It's number one, even in the constitutional amendment. When I was in the House of Assembly in 1999, I was one of the proponents of a centralized security network, centralized. Police, army, of course, DSS, civil defense, and everything. But of course, even at that time, a lot of other Nigerians were proponents of that belief. But today, all these are now brought under a microscope because the situation then is no longer the situation now. The situation now is that a group of persons, if you remember, when 2015, after Buhari climbed into power, a lot of things began to happen, especially in Benue Plateau. Herdsmen were coming to wipe out villages and take over their villages. And T.Y. Danjuma, Theophilus Danjuma, who was once one of the people that made this country, that dictated the pace of everything in Nigeria. The man came and told Nigerians that they needed to begin to protect themselves. They should go and buy arms, they should go and do this, just protect yourself. Because you had seen that the state was not capable of protecting you. And in fact, that the will to protect the people was not there. And so the people needed to protect themselves. The condition then has not, that condition that necessitated that statement by Theophilus Danjuma has not dissipated. It has not improved. I think it's even getting worse. Now, it's no longer Benue alone. It's no longer Plateau alone. It is going into other parts of the country. So the greatest need of Nigerians now is security. That's why in the constitutional amendment, a lot of persons are now clamoring for state police.
Yes, I was actually coming to that because I want to know, do you support that idea?
Which was not the position of a lot of Nigerians by the commencement of the present political, of the present democratic period, the Fourth Democratic Republic. It wasn't the position by 1999, up till 2007 even. But now, a lot of people are saying, no, we can't continue like this. Let states own police. Because let me tell you, assuming Benue State had a police, what you are hearing about in Benue will not be, it won't continue, it would have stopped long ago. If Plateau had a police formation, the position there will not happen. And you see, it's not as if these people that come to kill people, wipe out villages, it's not as if they wear, it's not as if their skin is made of iron. It's not as if they are wearing a bulletproof. It's not as if they have their own lives. They kept a duplicate of their lives on the tree. They have no duplicate. They are human beings like everybody else. And they are not stronger than the people they go to kill. But the only difference is that they come with lethal weapons, which the people they come to kill do not have. During Buhari's period, the police, it was announced everywhere that any weapon you had with you should be submitted to the police. In fact, it was also believed that machete was also a weapon. Machete that is known to be used for agriculture was also a weapon. And if you have submitted all these, now somebody comes into your house with an AK-47. Tell me what you tell to that person. Oh, nothing, of course. The person will waste that life without the life even shouting. And so now people are saying, please, let us have state policing so that these things will stop. I believe firmly that there is the need for state police. Even the governors cannot do it. They can't help the situation. Their hands are tied. There's nothing they can do. Because even the police, they can't control. The governors are not in control of the police, the federal police in their states. The person that controls the police is the IG and the commander-in-chief. by Section 215, subsection 4 of the Constitution, 1999. It's only, okay, yes, that section says that the governor can give a direction about security to the Commission of Police, or somebody appointed by the governor for that purpose can do so. That section also tells you, it gives a proviso that the Commission of Police can tell the governor to get approval from Abuja before he can do what the governor has told him to do. You now see, I also remember very vividly when a governor got security alert that there was going to be attack on so-so place in his state. He got in touch with the Army Division, got in touch with the Commissioner of Police several times. He kept getting that alert. And he kept reminding these people. Yet at the end of the day, this thing took place.
All right.
There was nothing the government could do than to shed tears.
Okay.
If there was a state police, it wouldn't have happened. And there is no place, all these ragtag people that call themselves full headsmen, there is no place they want to attack that will not be heard, because they don't have any organized system. Most times they go about looking for people that will go and shoot. So DSS hears this, people also hear, but at the end of the day, nothing happens. And so if there was a police in that state, they certainly would have heard it before it takes place, and they will also do everything they can to ensure that the casualty is minimal. And when you come to attack and you are repelled, you come to another place to attack, you are repelled. You come another place to attack, you will think twice, because you also have a life that you are interested in protecting. No human being will want to just throw away his life, no matter what you tell that person.
All right, and now the idea of this review, like you said earlier, is for the citizens to be carried along and to make their input in the Constitution. Now, this particular one, how inclusive would you say was this review process? Did it actually carry the citizens along?
Of course, you do not expect that that review process will be perfect. There is no perfect system in life, in the world, not even in America, which is the bastion of democracy in the world. And so there must be a lot of lapses. A lot of persons will also not leave the place not satisfied. Some persons will want to talk. They may not get the opportunity to talk. But of course, there's a procedure for everything. If you want to speak, there's a procedure. You needed to have indicated quite on time. You don't just walk in and you're allowed to. So such things. Of course, you also are expected to submit a memorandum for each person, and so that you express your opinion. There can't be a perfect system in the world.
All right. So, in your opinion, what would you say would make this constitutional review a success?
The thing that will make it a success is for this constitutional review to achieve what Nigerians have been clamoring since 1999. What have they been clamoring? They have been clamoring for a restructuring. Restructuring of the entire system. It begins from the Constitution. Because Section 1, subsection 2 of the Constitution tells you that neither the country itself nor a part of this country will be governed except in accordance with the provisions of the Constitution. The Constitution, in Section 4, which creates the legislative arm, subsection 2 creates the exclusive legislative list, which is listed under Part A of the second schedule of the 1999 Constitution. It has 68 items. All those 68 items encompass almost everything in Nigeria, and they are all said to be in the exclusive legislative list, which can only be legislated upon by the federal government, National Assembly. Even the the one that follows, Part B of the second schedule, which is on a concurrent list, which the state can legislate upon. The same Constitution Section 4 tells you that if there's any inconsistency between the legislation made by the federal government and the one made by the state, that of the federal government, that of the state will be a nullity to the extent of the inconsistency. The implication is that we are not in a federal system. We do not have a true federation in Nigeria. Nigeria is not a federal government. It's not. So it is important to make Nigeria a true federal government, a true federation. Let it be like America, that we are copying. If we are copying America, why do we copy bad ones and leave the good ones?
So how can we make Nigeria a true federation?
Yes, you need to go to that exclusive list. Reduce it to 6. There should be 2 exclusive legislative lists. 2. There should be exclusive legislative list A and exclusive legislative list B. List A will contain the ones to be legislated upon only by the federal government. State will not touch it. B will be one that will be legislated upon by the states only. Federal government will not touch it. So that if federal government strays into list B, that made by the federal government will be declared a nullity to the extent of the inconsistency with the one made. In fact, not even to the extent of the inconsistency, will be declared a nullity because they have no right to touch it. Now, and under list A, to be that of the federal government, you shouldn't have more than 6 items. What are the 6 items? You have external affairs. You have the army. You have the army, navy, air force. You have immigration and a few other things. Tell me the business that federal government has to go into agriculture. Tell me the business that federal government has to go into education. Tell me the business that federal government has to go into mining. Tell me the business that federal government has with 68 items.
All right, Barrister Ugwu.
What are the states doing?
Yeah, this conversation is very, very much important. I wish we had more time to continue, but we've run out of time. But thank you so much for your time.
Signature TV. News in your pocket.